My amniotic fluid could break at any moment, yet he stood at the doorway wondering whether he still had time to make it to his match. His eyes drifted past me and landed on his card deck. I had no choice but to force him to face reality. "You're going to your tournament again?" Gavin shrugged, a hint of impatience tugging at the corner of his mouth, as if I had just said the most ridiculous thing in the world. "Yeah. Today is the regional championship. I've booked this for months. You know how important it is to me." The air in the room seemed to freeze. I could smell the sweat on his clothes. He hadn't showered since the morning. The baby kicked violently inside me. Every breath felt like a struggle against pain. "How important? Do you know what time it is right now? The baby is coming. Can you at least take a shower first?" I grabbed his arm, my fingers turning pale. He shook off my hand, a trace of sarcasm flashing across his eyes. "Oh, today? You're pulling tricks again, aren't you? How many times have we talked about this? You always make up excuses to keep me from going to my matches." I bit my lip, holding back tears. "Gavin, my water has already broken. You need to come. Stop saying stupid things." He slung the card-filled backpack over his shoulder and walked to the door as if he lived inside his own little world. "I'm one match away from making nationals. You can go to the hospital yourself. Don't tell me you're lying again." I called him for 20 minutes before he finally picked up. "Gavin, listen to me, the baby is coming, my water broke." My voice was sharp, my hand clenched into a fist. "You're acting again, right? You know I'm in the middle of a match. Every win gets me closer to nationals. You always want to ruin my life." His breathing was rushed, as if he were calculating every move in the game instead of worrying about me. My hand trembled as I held the phone. "I'm not lying. I've already called you so many times." "Humph, you always want to drag me down. Drive yourself to the hospital. If it's really an emergency, no one's going to stop you." He hung up, cutting off all responsibility. I stared at the screen as tears slid down my cheeks. The floor was cold under my feet, my belly ached like a dull knife twisting over and over. Sunlight spilled through the window but couldn't reach my heart. I called his friend Mike. "Mike, please, tell Gavin the baby is really coming. He needs to get back." I heard noise in the background, shouts from the tournament venue. Mike's voice became awkwardly subdued. I know you might be lying. He told me before that you always get jealous of his tournaments." "No. It's real. The baby is coming, you need to get him." I practically screamed. A few minutes later, he called back. He doesn't want to hear it. He's focused on his match. When he finishes this round, there's nothing more I can do. My limbs felt weak. Tears soaked my clothes. I dragged myself to call Gavin's brother. "Please get him. This is real. I need him." The other end fell silent, then a faint mocking tone appeared. "What are you acting out this time? He already told the group chat you're ruining his big day again." Curled in pain, heart pounding, I finally dialed 911. When the ambulance arrived, I staggered into the vehicle with the help of the paramedics. The baby rolled inside me as the street outside rushed by. I clenched my teeth, compressing all the despair and anger into action. At the hospital, a nurse asked, "Where's the father? Is he coming?" Panting, my voice cracked. He's at a magic tournament." The young nurse blinked. "Wait, what tournament?" I explained, straining, "A card game for adults, spells, magical creatures." The older nurse held my hand firmly. "You're doing the right thing." Just as I was preparing to deliver, I heard a knocking at the door. Gavin walked in, wearing a sweat-stained t-shirt, hair greasy. He pointed at me, angry. "She's my wife." The nurse's face flushed. "Sorry, I thought." He immediately started complaining about his match results, not noticing the baby in my arms. I held my child tighter, my voice cold. The tournament was important, right? So you chose your cards over your child. Gavin froze, his face draining of color. I picked up the birth certificate. The baby is born. Father is blank. You chose the tournament, I get to choose too. I handed him the divorce papers. He stood there, stunned, like a chess piece that had suddenly lost its footing. The moment my child was born, I felt a sharp ache, but also a strange calm. When the nurse placed the baby on my chest, I felt the warmth of life and remembered all the years of neglect and humiliation. Gavin had always let his tournament schedule dictate our world, and I had silently endured. I thought back to our first year of marriage. Gavin spent his days buried in cards, events, and strategy forums. Whenever I brought up family plans, he'd roll his eyes. You again? I'm about to look at new card combos. I would smile weakly and swallow the feeling of being dismissed. Once, I prepared a full dinner, hoping he'd look at me instead of the game. The food was hot on the table, but he sat at his computer muttering rules to himself. This is important, why are you interrupting me? He snapped at the screen. I quietly returned the dishes to the kitchen, holding back tears. That night, I told myself, one day, he'll understand that nothing in a game compares to family. Another time, at a family gathering, he waved his cards around explaining rules to relatives. I mentioned a close call I'd had at the hospital that day, holding a cherished card as a metaphor. He cut me off immediately. You're exaggerating again. This is nothing like my match. Relatives exchanged awkward looks. I lowered my head. The humiliation felt like needles in my bones. Every one of those moments whispered the same thing. You have no control. Your pain is a joke. So I learned. I watched his habits, his weaknesses, his patterns. He thought he mastered every rule of the game, never noticing the cracks in his real life. During pregnancy, his obsession intensified. Each time I asked him to go for prenatal checkups, he dismissed me. I've got ranked matches today, you know I can't miss those. I forced myself onto cold buses alone. When the doctor asked, "Where's your husband?" I could only smile. He's working. But he was home playing cards. That was when I began keeping notes, his schedule, tournament timelines, his social circles. He believed he controlled our world. He didn't know I was preparing my own deck, built from every moment of neglect. There was another time when his friends cheered for his recent wins at a local event. I stood in the corner with a glass of water, watching him bask in their praise. Behind that pride, I saw something else, his escape from responsibility. All those years built a quiet strength inside me. And today, holding my newborn and the blank father column on the birth certificate, I realized I finally had the power to act. Gavin thought he controlled victory. But he ignored the simplest rule of life, responsibility and respect. My eyes hardened. I wouldn't let him use a game to rule my world. I placed the baby in the crib and gently patted his back. You'll see. I'm not someone you can ignore. I began to plan. Legal preparation, divorce papers, custody documents, financial lists, each line calculated to keep him from escaping responsibility. Psychological leverage. He was used to ignoring me, I was used to calmly observing him. Information, years of tournament schedules, witnesses, chat logs, I had them all. I remembered every humiliation, every birthday ignored, every important event I missed alone, every time I was called dramatic. Those memories formed a map of my revenge. Every point led to a single truth. He would face the helplessness he once forced on me. The sunlight outside was warm yet sharp. I looked out the window, feeling calm. My baby whimpered. Your father chose the tournament, I whispered. I choose to change the rules. The nurse closed the door. The room fell quiet again. The baby slept in my arms, warm breath like a tiny beast. My body hurt, but my heart floated like it finally surfaced from deep water. Gavin stood 2 meters away, unmoving. His shirt was stiff with dried sweat, the air conditioner mingling with the smell. His lips moved. You didn't mean all that, right? I forced down my anger. This cold silence felt more terrifying. Covering the baby's blanket, I said, without looking at him, everything you saw today is real. He stepped closer, cautious. You can't just overturn everything because of one mistake. I lifted my head. One mistake is what you tell yourself to feel better. It isn't the truth. He stepped back slightly at my raised voice. You called me an actress yesterday. Said I was jealous of your tournament. That I wanted to ruin you. You pulled your friends and family into it. Do you know what that means? Gavin swallowed. I didn't think you'd give birth this early. That isn't the point. I stared at him. You never believed I was telling the truth. For the first time, fear surfaced in his eyes, not fear of consequences, but fear of losing something. He inhaled. Let me hold him. Just for a second. I shook my head. No. His hand froze midair, trembling. You won't even give me that? You don't deserve it. Not today. He uttered nothing, suffocating on silence. After a long moment, he said, like grabbing a lifeline, I lost the match today. I wasn't in a good state. I didn't sleep. But, if I had won, you wouldn't be like this, right? I looked straight at him. You think you lost because of me? His eyes flickered. You kept calling. I couldn't focus. You're blaming me for screaming from the delivery bed, while you were in a tournament? His knees seemed to buckle as he sank into a chair, gripping his hair. For the first time, he wasn't angry, he was terrified. When we were discharged, the wind outside the hospital was harsh. I held the baby close. Gavin reached out instinctively, but my glance made him freeze. I can drive you home, he murmured. No. My refusal hit him like a slap. You're only like this because you're emotional. I laughed, devoid of warmth. My emotions passed the moment my water broke. The baby stirred. I patted him gently. The moment you hung up on me, I decided I wouldn't rely on you again. He watched me walk toward the taxi, chasing 2 steps. You can't just walk away with him. I turned back, calm. The only way you'll ever be allowed to hold him is by understanding why I'm leaving with him. He said, then tell me. I answered, because when you knew I might be giving birth, you chose your unwashed shirt and a card table 4 miles away over me. He froze at the hospital entrance. In the following days, I didn't rush anything. I simply stopped cleaning up after him. His friends asked, why aren't you at the shop? He couldn't answer. His mother called, begging me to give him another chance. I said, do you remember your son telling the whole group chat I was faking being sick? Silence. She never asked again. His work flagged him for tardiness and absence. He came to my door. I need an address update form. I can't use where I'm staying now. I shut the door. That's your problem. He grew thinner, didn't shave, didn't wash. Not because he couldn't, but because he realized no one would fix things for him now. His last visit was on the baby's 1-month birthday. He stood like a scarecrow in the wind, deflated, empty-handed. He looked at the baby and tears welled. Can I hold him? Just once? I looked at him. The once proud man who called me a liar now looked like he was standing in ruins. I asked, you told your friends yesterday that I was being dramatic. You think I don't know? His face drained. He leaned against the doorframe, voice hoarse. I panicked. I didn't know how to face everything. I was just scared. Scared of losing me? I asked. He closed his eyes as tears fell. Scared of facing myself. When he said that, I knew he finally understood. But it was too late. The baby reached out a tiny hand. I held him tighter. You can keep trying, I said softly. You can keep changing. But not for me. Not for the baby. You're doing it to make up for what you did. His voice cracked. Do I still have a chance? You didn't lose one chance, I said. You lost an entire past. The door closed quietly in front of him. No yelling, no cursing. Just the slow, shaky breathing of a man realizing every dismissal, every insult, every refusal to believe me had finally come back to him. He chose a card table 4 miles away. I chose my child, and myself. There was no thrill, no triumph. Just the calm of something finally ending. True revenge is not screaming or punishing. It is letting someone face reality, and the ruins they made, all on their own. I held my baby and walked back into the living room. A breeze drifted in through the window. This was a new life. And I wasn't looking back.